For those familiar with my channel, you might know that my favorite MLP episode of all time is Hearthswarming Eve. With the holidays around the corner and my lack of being able to say anything interesting on Castlemania, I figured let's finally tackle this episode. Why out of all the current episodes of MLP does this one hold my spot for favorite episode? Well, a lot of it has to do with history. This is the one episode of MLP that dedicates most of its runtime to history, while keeping a clean, straightforward story structure and pacing that never falter. More importantly, the history it tells is gorgeous. It talks about 3 tribes that were divided and came together in harmony to create Equestria. This history is so awesome because everything is believable. I get why the historical figures act the way they do. These pony tribes have completely different cultures, living separately, but are forced to work together because of the properties that operate their world. Deep down, no race likes the others. Their societies are too different for them to see eye to eye or trust the others for that matter. Additionally, they don't know their hatred has the possibility of attracting Wendigos. It's for these reasons that once the cold hits, they can't work with one another. Each one goes to the meeting thinking the other tribes were screwing up, and the previous system couldn't hold up under the tension. The Earth Ponies blame the Pegasi for making it freeze and don't give them food, because weather is the Pegasi domain. They don't share the food with the unicorns either because they simply don't have food to share. The previous system diminished their ability to store food since they had to give huge portions to the Pegasi and unicorns. Low food supply also hints though that food production was not meeting up to population growth, probably because Earth Ponies were doing all the legwork. The unicorns and Pegasi are, of course, angry at the Earth Ponies for hoarding the small amount of food that was available. Additionally, they blame each other for the weather. Pegasi see magic from the unicorns as the only other culprit for the weather, and unicorns, like Earth Ponies, believe the Pegasi are responsible for the cold. Everything connects here in a fashion that makes complete sense. Even better, all that's seen in the small runtime can be extrapolated to come to bigger premises or concepts. Just by getting quick glances of their homes and pieces of dialogue, tons of info can be gathered. This is most apparent when we look at ponies' behaviors in relation to their cultures. The Pegasi have what looks like a Roman culture, and their leader was chosen because of her military success. The Earth Ponies have a largely agricultural society, and their only form of government was elected from majority vote. In other words, it's a democracy. Lastly, the unicorns have a feudalistic society, and the person speaking for them was born in the royal family. By being born into her position and separated from most kinds of physical labor, Princess Platinum would see Pegasi as ruffians and Earth Ponies as bedraggled. Since both Commander Hurricane and Chancellor Pudding had earned their position in some manner and know how unicorns come to power, they would perceive Princess Platinum as stuck up for demanding so much. Moreover, Commander Hurricane would see the Earth Ponies as numbskulls for having a scatterbrained leader. This reflects on how other governments look at democracies. Heck, even the founding fathers of America look down on democracies because the majority holds all the power. And that's all the dynamics that exist between the leaders. Notice all the leaders saw the other races negatively except Chancellor Puddinghead. At no point in the episode did we see her view the overall Pegasi race negatively, which might mean she has some respect for them. More likely though, she views Commander Hurricane and the other Pegasi as mean, since they're the most forceful out of the races. While the leaders have stances that reflect their individual tribes, none of their assistants share these opinions, and it's because of this that the 3 tribes can become united. This is, of course, because these ponies are so frustrated with their leaders that they no longer identify themselves by tribe, but by occupation. I love this! It reflects how one's work environment can change one's affiliations to the nation, and is a great believable way of uniting the tribes, since people generally unite with others when they can find common grounds. After this change, the pony races stopped being associated with their cultures, which is essential if they wanted to be united. Though I love this association of race and culture while it lasted. My love of this comes from my 10 or so years of playing World of Warcraft. Yeah, I'm a nerd. Anywho, in this game's story, race and culture are one and the same, and whenever I see instances of this in other media, it's a tasty reminder of my past. Playing my Blood Elf Paladin, good times. I'm getting back on track. A big criticism about this episode is that it raises more questions than it answers. But for me, that's just another aspect in which this episode rocks. If you know me well, you'd know I like speculating about MLP, and sometimes get more enjoyment when something is left open for me to ponder. That's what this episode gives me. Some examples of questions this episode raises are, how did this cycle even come to be? What happened next in equestrian history, and what's with that flag at the end? If the episode answered a lot of questions, the history would feel barren and empty, whereas now it feels like more is there. Unlike other episodes though, I feel it purposely executes things in a way that answers less questions. It does this by converting the story into a holiday play and purposely simplifying certain events. For example, smart cooking and chance of putting it literally walking in circles probably didn't happen. This was likely on a greater scale and was a point in history in which these two became lost. The same can probably be said of Princess Platinum and Clover the Clever, where the stream was actually a river. It's hard to tell what exactly was simplified, but that's what makes it fun. It's for us to decide. By making it a play instead of the real thing, we also get to see the main six acting as the characters. This was an excellent choice the writers made. Sure, I want to see the actual ponies, but that's for the fandom to do. I don't demand DHX does it because I think the fandom can do just as good of a job. It's already been done beautifully by MK on DeviantArt, if I might add. The characters that each main six member plays even make sense. I can believe that Twilight would be an annoyed scholar, Fluttershy a scared rookie, Applejack a snarky assistant, RD a quick-tempered commander, Pinky an unorthodox politician, and Rarity a snobby princess. Wait, that came out wrong! That wasn't me bashing Rarity, just a simple observation that she could pull off that role. Don't get mad. Please. Putting our history lesson in a play form with the main six as the cast also gives the writers a great opportunity for some character chemistry. They not only deliver on that chemistry, but gives us my favorite combination. I'm talking none other than Applejack and Pinkie Pie. These two bounce off each other so wonderfully. It brings out this snarkiness in Applejack that's just so fun to watch. And Pinkie Pie doesn't pick up on any of it. No other character gets this way with Pinkie, and Pinkie's the only character that doesn't take AJ's criticisms very seriously. What's more, I think both ponies do this to reduce stress. AJ knows Pinkie won't notice her snarkiness, but she does it anyway because it's relieving. Have you ever had that someone that annoys you, and you just poke fun at them without hurting their feelings? You don't poke fun maliciously, it just lightens up the mood. On the opposite end, Pinkie's oblivious to AJ's tone. If she thought Applejack was being mean-spirited about it, she'd likely turn into Pinkamena. So, her obliviousness might be a result of an unconscious defense mechanism that prevents her feelings from being hurt and turning into Pinkamena. Moreover, the writing staff put these two in the best dynamic imaginable, a politician and her secretary. As a result, it feels like the writing staff are portraying a politician being criticized, and I don't know about you, but it's cathartic. I hate how stupid politicians are being nowadays, and criticizing their behaviors acts like a nice giant middle finger to them. It goes without saying, no other two-pony interaction in this episode comes close to this level of awesomeness. I'd go one step further though. This is one of the best interactions in the entire series. More enjoyable than even the Rainbow Fluttershy interactions in Sonic Rainbow. So, what could get even better than my favorite pairing? Just Fluttershy, Applejack, and Twilight making the best group dynamic happen. The episode presents Fluttershy, Applejack, and Twilight as the reasonable ponies of the main six. And these ponies just so happen to be my top 3 favorite ponies of the entire series. If anything could top my favorite interaction between AJ and Pinkie, this would be it. Nowhere else in the series are these 3 grouped together, probably because they complement each other so well. One picks up where the other falls, Fluttershy picks up on emotions, Twilight is able to think about why those emotions are there, and AJ acts to make those ponies feel better. They each have their bad moments, such as when Fluttershy becomes too scared, Twilight gets anxious about the details, and AJ is too stubborn to change her ways. This doesn't matter though, because the positives well outweigh the negatives, and I honestly don't think any other episode can upplay how tremendous these 3 are. This scene shows them representing the 3 ponies that discovered the fire of friendship, something that is celebrated all across Equestria. How could any episode top that? The fact that the fire of friendship is celebrated as Equestria's version of Christmas just accentuates this point. If you're familiar with the US, you know that Christmas is celebrated very enthusiastically here. Just imagine that. Now, imagine everyone celebrating Christmas. That is the extent to which the fire of friendship is glorified, since it's a national holiday. And for that reason, I love that the Christmas element was included. It acts to further upplay the fire of friendship and thus my favorite ponies of all time. And with that, I have sufficiently covered the greatest MLP episode to ever exist. So what do you think? You agree or not? If not, what is your favorite episode and why?